Welcome back to Dollars with Sense. I'm talking with Dr. Stephen Enticott from CI Tax regarding self-managed super funds and buying investment property. Now, Dr. Steve, we've gone over the costs, or rather the income of the investment property and the money coming in from your income. What's next?
Well, so I think we've got to look at costs. On that $200,000 loan, if we assume a borrowing rate of 7.5%, it's going to cost us $15,000 a year to have this loan. And let's allow, say, $3,000 in the example for other costs, being a brand new property. They won't be that high. And we should allow for tax. A little thing that we need to get across is that the income or the profit on that rental property is actually taxed, but it's only taxed at 15%. But also on your salary sacrifice, when that comes in, or your 9%, or your extra contributions to super, that's also taxed at 15%. So in this case, the tax element comes out at about $3,300, which leaves us with an annual profit of $21,300 on our salary sacrifice into super and the rent after expenses, which basically means on a $200,000 loan, you're going to have it paid off in 10.7 years.
So you're saying that if I buy an investment property in my self-managed super fund, it's $350,000, give or take 10 to 12 years, depending on what I'm putting into it. Correct. I'll own the property in my self-managed super fund.
Yeah, and the other thing to look at it too is that rents generally rise over time, and as your loan reduces, that gap will increase as well. So rents rising, interest will fall, so you'll actually pay it off. This is just assumed a straight line. It will be quicker than that.
Now, you're talking about, with the investment property, we're talking about a residential one?
Yep, in that case, yeah.
What about a commercial property?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, look, assume the figures are the same, with the exception of with commercial, the interest rate's a lot higher. The rent rate is normally a lot higher. And it's
What's the rent rate?
Yeah, let's say residential about 3.5%. Okay, of your capital value is what you'll receive in rent. With commercial property, it's probably more like 7%. Okay, so you're going to receive a lot more income for it. So the numbers in the example will be a lot quicker because you've got more money coming in.
Well, why do you get a greater return on commercial property?
Well, I think the risk, risk and return, higher risk, higher return. Look, the commercial property is an unusual investment, but if you're an owner-occupier, like you own your accounting practice or your shop or whatever, buying the property you work out of is a very, very good thing to do. Generally, the rent is about the same as what the interest would be, and as a commercial tenant, you're paying all the outgoings anyway. So if you are in business, most of us are going to be there a very long time, you might as well buy the asset. So using your super fund to buy the asset of your shop or a factory if you're a tradesman or whatever you do is a very good strategy to look at.
Dr. Steve, let's say in 5 years' time, after we've put our investment property into our self-managed super fund, we want to get another one. Can you cross-collateralise the loan from the first property onto the other one as far as equity for borrowing?
Yeah, the answer is no. If you did pay off one property, well then that property would transfer out of the instalment warrant into the super fund, and you can never borrow against that. No, you can't.
So that's a limitation to a self-managed super
fund. It is,
fund.
and a good one. Super's meant to be safe. So constantly leveraging up property. Whilst it's been a good strategy, it's not really in line with what the policy of superannuation is, which is to keep it safe and protect it for your retirement.
So if I want to go out and get a second investment property in my self-managed super fund, I would be putting cash into the self-managed super fund.
Correct.
That I could be investing into shares that I could sell off and then put another one in, let's say.
Yeah, and the other thing too, you might want to make a member's contribution to super. Like, superannuation's a good thing. At the end of the day, if you get to the age of 60 and you're retired, you pay no tax. So that income stream you're receiving from rent, there's no tax if you're in pension phase. Likewise, capital gains tax, there's no capital gains tax in retirement. So, super's a good thing. I try to get this into people all the time because most of us have had a bad experience with super. But when you actually do it yourself and manage it yourself, and you see the property or you see the shares and you know what they are, from a taxing point of view, there's actually nothing better than superannuation.
Do you have any other case studies that you'd like to go over with us?
Oh, well, I'll give you a couple more. Presuming we all want to retire one day, and as we know, our own home is capital gains tax free. But if we bought a holiday house down at, let's just say Rye or somewhere down the coast somewhere, or in the country if you want to go to the country somewhere, at one point that property will be sold and there's capital gains tax involved. If I wanted to buy a property in super and had it for 20 years before I got to retirement age, and obviously you can't use it when it's your own residential property, you can when it's commercial. At that point in time when I sell it, it'll be capital gains tax free. So there is a way you can actually have two properties accumulating, capital gains tax free, your own home and also a property down the coast.
Thanks, Dr. Steve. I've just been talking to Dr. Stephen Enticott from the CIA Tax Group about self-managed super fund and investment property. Now, if you'd like to know more about self-managed super funds, click on the dollarswithsense.tv website, click on Dr. Stephen Enticott and take it from there. I'll make sure he's got some point forms for you to follow. See you after the break.